From above, the branch of green trees right in the center of Saigon, Ho Chi Minh City, from the back of Notre Dame Cathedral to Cách mạng tháng 8 Street, seems to embrace Independence Palace. Architectural researchers of France have written, Independence Palace, the symbol of South Vietnam government, is the conversion place of Liberation Force on historic 30th of April 1975, on the site of the former Notre Dame Palace, which was also called Governor General of Indochina Palace. Architect Ngô Viết Thụ designed and constructed a monumental structure that is harmonious with Versailles. This historic structure represents modern architecture of Vietnam, and it becomes a cultural and historical site of Ho Chi Minh City. French colonialism invaded Saigon in 1859, and then in 1868, they constructed the palace for South Vietnam governor, which was also known as Notre Dame Palace. Just after being defeated in the Battle of Điện Biên Phủ in 1954, the French returned Notre Dame Palace to the Vietnamese. The Ngô Đình Diệm administration renamed it Independence Palace.
The totalitarian nepotism of Ngô Đình Diệm repressed people, caused a wave of indignation over South Vietnam, and displeased the internal Saigon government. In 1962, the coup faction desired the pilots to release the bombs onto the left side of the palace. Diệm commanded to collapse the palace and rebuild a bigger and more solid one, which was designed by architect Ngô Viết Thụ.
When the construction has not been finished, a military coup d'état happened on the 1st of November 1963. On the next day, two brothers Ngô Đình Diệm and Ngô Đình Nhu were killed by the coup faction. Then the construction was inaugurated in October 1966. General Nguyễn Văn Thiệu monopolized the palace for his workplace and accommodation. Nguyễn Văn Thiệu continued waging war on the other side regardless of the peace agreement that was formally signed in early 1973. In April 1975, the Ho Chi Minh Campaign was deployed over the battlefield of South Vietnam. Liberation Force continually attacked and brought back Saigon Fort on most of the theaters of war. A stream of evacuees rushed to Saigon. Even American people started running away from Saigon. Lieutenant Pilot Nguyễn Thành Trung, working for Vietnam Republican Air Force, released the bomb on the Independence Palace on the 8th of April 1975 as a warning to Thiệu. He safely returned to Liberation Area. However, Thiệu was still opinionated to hold out. The war became more and more furious. In the face of pressure from many sides, Nguyễn Văn Thiệu had to resign shamefully and left Saigon on 21st of April 1975, handed over the authority to Vice President Trần Văn Hương. General Nguyễn Cao Kỳ first called upon to fight, but then he ran to the warship of the U.S. in D.C. On April 28th, Trần Văn Hương resigned and handed over retired General Dương Văn Minh. Before the furious attacks of Liberation Force, Saigon troops started to retreat. At the terrace of the U.S. Embassy, there were always the airplanes to bring the last Americans out of Saigon. Finally, the Liberation Force advanced to Saigon. The historic Ho Chi Minh Campaign was over with success when the tanks of Liberation Force crashed through gates and the Liberation flags were set on the top of the palace. Right at noon on the 30th of April 1975, President Dương Văn Minh announced the unconditional surrender to the revolutionary authorities. General Dương Văn Minh, President of Saigon government, demanding the unconditional surrender of Republic Vietnam Army to South Vietnam Liberation Force. I declare dismissed to Saigon government from the central to local regions and hand over the power to South Vietnam Provisional Government.
Chúng tôi
We represent South Vietnam Liberation Force, formally declare Saigon City has been liberated, and we accept the unconditional surrender of General Yoon Bang Minh, President of Saigon government. South Vietnam was totally liberated. People from over the whole country, from Hanoi to Saigon, took the streets to celebrate the victory. With respect, everyone visited Ho Chi Minh Mausoleum that had just been finished in Hanoi, capital then. In 30 years of war, Vietnamese people finally seized power, carrying out the wish of Ho Chi Minh President: independence, peace, reunification of the country. On November 15, 1975, representatives from the South and the North gathered to the Independence Palace to attend political consultative conference of reunifying the country. Since then, the palace has become a place for important conferences of Communist Party, state, and government, and also became a cultural and historical relic. A new generation is following the elders like these architectural students. They are visiting Independence Palace. They are contemplating and studying these cultural and historical architectural features. Looking from the outside, the front of the palace, including the large left side and the flat top, seems to project into the high trees, which are at the back. And now we are contemplating an architectural site constructed 40 years ago. The special thing is that it was designed, constructed, decorated by the Vietnamese dogmatic building materials. Garden style outline and well-matched artifice. Although the color and the material stand out, they harmonize with vegetation. On the four sides are stone walls, changing their colors all the time. The exterior traditionally decorated with dragon and phoenix style and embossed flowers and leaves. The ferro concrete structure with at least 6 strong features expressed from the emerging roof to sturdy pillars. Architectural structure seems soulless, but perhaps the designer brought his song and thoughts to the site. And now we are reaching to the palace. A large roof rising receives visitors to the airy veranda and then to the splendid hall which combine modernity and tradition perfectly. Looking up, the light from wooden ceiling and a cluster of lights is softened.
From the hall exposed is the conference hall for receiving guests, which is the one on the largest scale at Independence Palace. It can be full of thousands of people. On the red carpet all over the floor, tables and armchairs are organized. Everyone is watching the picture of Father of the Nation, Hùng Vương, naming the country Văn Lan. It shows the context of the Hùng kings founding the country over 1,000 years ago. Turning to the cabinet meeting room from the hall is the big oval conference table. There is no decoration in this room. Only quite a few microphones are set. Enclosed the table are the mattress chairs for the assembly members to meet face-to-face democratically. On the wall at the back of the room is a projector which can be rolled up. Inside the banquet room with floor carpets and curtain with the same light color are a lot of tables and chairs for distinguished guests. A big painting named Sơn Hà Cẩm Tú Thái Bình Thảo Mộc spreads a large wall. This painting with the mixtures of the West-East art was created by architect Ngô Viết Thụ. Let's walk into the space between the conference hall and the ceremony chambers, up to the large blank stairs, forward to the second floor. Here is the main architectural space in the palace, where it's used for ceremonies, receiving guests and workplace of heads of state.
The lobby is very deep. The insides of the knuckle small bamboo-shaped curtain reflects showy granite floor. The rains of wind bells ring softly whenever the wind rises. Four sides are decorated with dragon, unicorn, tortoise, and phoenix patterns. With all, the floor is flooded with marvelous light of knuckle small bamboo-shaped curtain, which we have seen on the main side of the site. It is dazzling with streams of light through the window, laid with overlapped stone curtains, stretching the height of the floor. The light is turning the knuckles of small bamboo into crystal columns, reflecting the lobby. From the hall is the balcony with roof. Here, heads of state present themselves before the public. A compass is at the threshold. In the hall is a round red carpet with the pattern of two dragons competing the pearl. The word "long lived" is right in the middle of the carpet. From here, we will move toward the credential presenting chamber located on the other side of the main stairs. And now we are in the most solemn and splendid place with meticulous decoration in Independence Palace. It is located right in the middle of the structure. Here is the seats for head of state to exercise the country's sovereignty, receiving credentials from ambassadors. All furniture is made of lacquer, looking elegant and traditional, in which prominent is the picture of famous Vietnamese manifesto that describes the setting of people settling after the 10-year anti-Minh troops struggle. The reception room is divided into two intercommunicating rooms. Behind the seats for superior guests is a pair of tugs which stands on dragon mouth-shaped support, showing the power. The national reception room is simply and warmly disposed. Next is the workplace of the president. The arms of the seat, which are carved with dragon patterns, remind people of King's throne.
And Now we go back to the stairs and the central hall, looking straight to the